Painting on organza. So here I have taken a organza silk fabric, a reference design, colors. I have gone for Fabrica camel, color yellow, and acrylic color for white. We have to mix in medium with this. With colors we don't need to mix the medium. Again with the Fabrica acrylic colors we need to mix the medium. Instead of water we'll use medium. If you are practicing, you can straight away work with water, but when you are creating a piece on a fabric which is wearable, please use the medium to mix the colors. Shading on organza fabric with fabric paints can be achieved by diluting the paints with water to create translucent effect. Many a times people complain that my fabric becomes too stiff after applying fabric paints. That is because they don't dilute it with water. So please ladies, you can dilute water and it gives a translucent effect, and there is, I won't say zero stiffness, but then very minimum stiffness which is there, and the fabric feels soft on hand. Also, layering multiple shades of paint and blending them while wet can also create a gradient or shading effect. So it's always preferred that it's quite essential to practice on a scrap piece of fabric first to get the desired result and to ensure the paint doesn't bleed excessively on the organza. So you have to be little careful while applying paints. Beforehand, just test a corner on a piece of scrap maybe, or maybe a corner of the dupatta or sari. Just check if your paints are how is your paint behaving with the fabric. If it's bleeding, you need to take a control of that. If it is not, you can add a little more water and create a translucent effect with minimum stiffness on the fabric. For the pistil of the sunflower, I have chosen velvet brown from Seta silk and terracotta from Fevicryl. Now, ladies, you can choose your colors from the wide variety of brands available in your country, or maybe you can get it from abroad. So I have chosen Seta color. You can see terracotta also to mix in and give highlights to the dimensions to the pistil. I'll cover it all with the terracotta with edges with the help of velvet brown. Adding highlights to painted flowers on fabric can enhance their dimensionality and bring them to life. So you can achieve this by using a lighter shade of the same color, or a metallic fabric paint for a shimmering effect, or maybe a darker shade to just give the highlights. Now apply the highlights sparingly on the areas where a light would naturally hit the petals or leaves. That is the idea behind, people often ask me where to apply, highlights and lighter shades. So it is basically where you feel the light would hit naturally, such as the edges or the centers. Okay. You can use fine tip brushes for the edges, or a small sponge to dab on the highlights, blending them gently into the surrounding colors for a seamless transition. I'll show you how to go about it. You can see I'm adding whites and golden, little bit of gold in the center and the petals of the flower. Now coming on to the leaves. Choose your colors, select the shades of green and any other colors you want to use for your leaves. It's it's not necessarily you stick to one color. You can mix in different shades to add depth and realism to your design. And basically we paint the base color first. Use a medium sized brush. I'm using a filbert brush here to apply the base color of your leaf. Start with the lighter shades first and gradually add darker tones to create damage. You can add details. Use a fine tip brush to add veins and textures to your leaves. You can also layer additional colors to create highlights and shadows. Again, you can see I'm started with a new flower, applying the same technique, going on with a lighter tone of yellow and then gradually shading it with terracotta and yellow. Again, for the center of the sunflower pistil, I have used terracotta and velvet brown to give depth to the pistil. Merge it well. Keep the tip little lighter and the area around the petals little darker. Until now I was taking help of the design under my fabric. Now I'll go freehand. So that is the place where I've chosen to make another flower, that you will have to choose where you want another flower. I want that overlapped flower under my sunflower. You can take help from the reference from any pic and just go on freehand. Now you have drawn already made two flowers with the help of the design. You can, I'm sure, go ahead even without the design and create something similar with the help of the image or any reference design which you have in your hand. Process is just the same. You have to layer it with 2 to 3 colors, the dark yellow, terracotta, maybe darker yellow and whites. To highlight, you can add few petals in the center in between the pistil, and the process goes on the same way we did the previous flowers. For adding details, use fine tipped brush to add fine lines around the petals to give highlights. Although I am using a filbert brush for adding details, you can use fine tip brush to add veins and texture to your leaves. You can also layer additional colors to create highlights and shadows for a more realistic look. Let it dry. Allow your painted leaves to dry completely before adding any additional layers or details. Remember to experiment and have fun with your painting process. And this feels so soft. You can just see the softness. There's no stiffness which I can feel.